Good morning. We're right outside of Billings, Montana, along the Yellowstone River. Going to do a sketch of this scene. My name is Jason Tako. Thank you for watching my video. Do me a favor, give it a thumbs up or a like, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I do full-length plein videos, non-time-lapsed. And if you're new to my channel, what I do is I show some of the video to YouTubers, and then the rest, if you want to see the full thing, that's for my Patreon subscribers. There's a link below, $5 a month. You can watch all my new videos that I'll be doing from here on out. I got quite a few that are still public. So we're doing this tree scene, and it's morning, and mostly backlit. I like doing backlit scenes, as I think a lot of artists do. Let me tell you really quick my colors: titanium white, cadmium yellow light, cadmium orange, which is starting to slide down, yellow ochre, transparent red oxide, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, viridian, and sap green. Sap green is a color I decided to try. Not sure if I like it or not. It's very heavy. Alright, so what we're doing is we're going to establish just some approximates here. When I'm done with this, unless I paint super fast, I have a feeling a lot of this background cliff is going to be in sunlight, or somewhat in sunlight. Now the trick with this scene is this background cliff here is cool in color, but when you isolate it and look at it on its own, you're going to see all these worms in there. And what a novice painter will start doing, oh, hold on, I got a spider on me. What a novice painter will do is they will start to look in to these areas and really see all this different color. And they'll make the mistake of putting in that color without consulting, if you will, the rest of the scene. In other words, checking to see how warm or cool that color is compared to everything else going on in the scene. And if you look in just this area where this cliff is, I mean, there is, some faint limestone color in there. But you still want to keep it relatively cool compared to what we're going to do in the front here. And you do that by constantly asking yourself, how warm or cool is this when I compare it to this, or when I compare it to the sky, when I compare it to the greens in the foreground, so on and so forth. This spider just keeps trying to crawl up me. So let's get in our darkest darks, which are right in here. I did that little wash back there, but a lot of times I like to start with my darkest darks, because they help me to gauge all my other values. So this dark kind of swings over here. I'm not going to try to paint individual branches for the most part. I'm just going to block in an approximate dark of what I'm seeing. This light's probably going to change pretty fast. So at this point, I just want to get in basic colors and values. Okay, now this tree has a very ambiguous greenish gray tone to it. So when you're doing this, don't agonize about, when you're trying to get ambiguous colors in, don't agonize about it too much. First thing to do is get in your most obvious values and colors. Some scenes will have a very obvious color, which is usually a very prismatic color. Prismatic meaning that it's not really grayed down. It's more like a pure red or a pure blue. Skies can be, they're not quite a pure blue. It's not like what you squeeze right out of the tube, but some skies can be, you can get away with just doing a cobalt blue with white. But when you're dealing with ambiguous grays and things like that, just mix an approximate, put it in thin, with the understanding that you're going to have to make adjustments to it. And when you get to that point where you have to make adjustments, don't beat yourself up. It's part of the painting process. I'm constantly going back to colors and values and tweaking them and making adjustments as I go. Now, the good news is the longer you do this, the less you have to make those adjustments until you come upon a scene that you might not be terribly familiar with. But it takes time, it takes practice. If you're new to painting, don't think that you're just going to get this down, after a couple tries. I've had students that, they were, especially ones who seem to be in techie type things or doctors or whatever, they think, well, when I retire, I'll become an artist and then I'll start painting, and then they think that they're going to be really good after just a few tries or even after a few lessons, and that's not the case. Good painting is a lifelong process. I think some people, I don't want to say they look down on art, but they just think, oh, that's just glorified color crayons or something, I can do that, and I'll just have somebody show me. It's a lifelong struggle. Okay, let's get in some of these beautiful cast shadows here, which are going to slowly disappear as the sun gets higher in the sky. All right, I'm gonna get in some of this more intense green. Just want to let you know too that I teach live online painting classes where we go much slower than this because we can. I can't stop and explain every color to you here. There just is not time. But we spend 1 month doing a painting. We meet usually on Saturdays from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. Sometimes that does vary, but I take you through the whole process step by step, explaining everything, explaining the theory, all the stuff that I just don't have the time to do out here. I try to explain some stuff, but it's just not possible to get it all in. So if you're interested, you'll see a link below for that as well. Patreon support gets you access to the full demo here, or the full, not demo, but the full plein air painting. Joining my live online classes. There, you're interacting with me live. We're studying together, I'm explaining things. We have live Q&A and critique sessions. The whole works. Space is limited, so there is a waiting list you sign up for. If you're interested, click below. Okay, this is the river. There's a bit of warm reflection there. I'm not sure exactly what color that is. Don't need to worry about it, just get an approximate in there. Something to build on. And that's how you want to think about painting when you lay your first colors down. That's why you don't want to beat yourself up. You're just putting down something to build upon. Say like this, I know I got to adjust these colors here, but I'm going to move up to here for now. And when you're out here doing this, you want to ask yourself, what's the most important thing that you can get done? What are you trying to capture? And I'm trying to capture this right here. I love this nice glow of these backlit trees against that. The dark of these hills. So if that's what you're trying to capture, then get that in. And usually when I'm painting, I'm after the effect of light more than anything else. So I'm going to squint at the scene as I look at it. Squinting really helps to simplify things, helps to simplify values. I've heard that it was said that you should really paint the world how you see it with your eyes squinted. And I think there's a lot of wisdom to that. And when I squint, I notice that these values in here, I had them too light. So I'm glad I put down thin paint instead of thick paint, because it's pretty easy to adjust. Another thing too is I'm not going to try to paint the tree exactly in the exact shape that I'm seeing. I'm going to try to capture the basic characteristics of it. But that's it. There just is not time to do an exact rendering. Also, little tiny shapes like little holes in the trees, I'm going to save that for later. I can easily punch those in at some point. That getting that in now is not going to help me achieve or capture the effective light and value that I'm after. All right, I think I'm going to block in some of the sky. Sky is very light in value. One of the biggest mistakes a lot of beginning and even intermediate artists will make is they'll paint their skies too dark. I still do it myself at times, which is why I usually save the sky for last. The sky, especially out here in the west, is very bright when it's a clear day. And it's not much darker than the white of the canvas as you're toward the horizon. As you move up toward the zenith, it can get pretty dark, but we're not looking up that high. The sky is not, not going to mess with too much of it right now. It's not going to change a whole lot between now and the end of the painting, unless I'm out here painting all day. So I'm going to get just an approximate tone to key off of. It's going to get a little bit lighter, more yellow, because our sun's over here. A little bit darker and more blue. As we move away from the sun, especially as we move up. The longer I paint too, when I look at skies, I can see more things in them, more colors I should say. Like I even see a hint of alizarin in certain spots. It's like a nice vibration, especially here in this morning light. This might not be picking up very well because it's so high key. I can barely see it myself, but I will notice it when I get back in the studio. And it's more of a feel than anything. It's not like I, identify it exactly, but it's just, yep, that feels correct. One thing I like to do at this stage is mess it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to stop for now and move on to just my Patreon supporters. If you want to watch the rest of this video and see the completion of this painting, become a Patreon member, $5 a month. You'll see all my upcoming preliminary videos in their entirety without commercials, mid-roll commercials that is, and helps to support me with my channel. But thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up. Hope you see you on the other side on Patreon.